10 German guys just like wanting to freaking bum rush me and just punch me. And then Tyrone came and like got in front of me and literally pulled me through. And then the circle just collapsed. And he pulled me through and like took me upstairs so that nothing would happen. And he was just like, what the hell? And I was just looking and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Like the whole, it was just nuts. You know what I mean?
Salute to the subscribers, those that live beyond the Cypher. I'm your host, Illskillz. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. They cost you nothing. Welcome to episode 12 of Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, Sin City Superman. We are the podcast that shows humanity in the superhuman. Today on the show, we have a guy that's done it all. Battle of the Year, America's Best Dance Crew, Jabbawockees performances. The list goes on. From Knucklehead Zoo and Super Crew, Ben Stacks. What up, Ben? How you doing, man?
What's up, man? What's up? What's up? I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you today, man. I'm doing good.
We were, pleasantly, not really surprised, but just, it was a pleasant thing when you said that you would be willing to come and chat with the family. You know what I'm saying? Come speak to us that live beyond the Cypher, man. We really appreciate that, especially with, all of the things that you've accomplished in the culture, man. It's really dope to have somebody of your caliber and with your history to come on the show and share your story. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, thank you, man. I think it's really cool what you guys are doing, because the b-boy scene needs to know more about what's going on with the dancers and people's lives, and you know what I'm saying, that so it's not just about what moves we're doing, you know what I mean, in the Cypher, but what moves we're doing outside the Cypher too,
No doubt, man, and we're gonna touch on all that over the course of this conversation. Now, traditionally, where I start, just because it gives us a good starting point, is how you were introduced and got involved with breaking culture.
Okay, dope. Word. So how I got into breaking, really, it started with my interest in hip hop. You know what I mean? I was about like 11 or 12 when I really started getting into just more than just mainstream hip hop. I started discovering just like artists like Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul, like getting into the 90s kind of vibe. And then one of the movies actually that really got me into hip hop was Juice. You know what I mean? Like seeing like the DJ battles, right?
Wow. But
yeah,
just
Juice.
not to cut you off, man, but I think you might be the first person so far that's dropped a movie that didn't drop Beat Street. Everybody else is just like, I saw Beat Street. You're like, I saw damn thuggin'. I saw Tupac thuggin' on the big screen. It was like, yo, I'm about to get into this.
Yeah, man. So that DJ scene, I remember really got me interested in DJing. Me and my brother ended up getting like a little starter kit of a little Gemini set, real cheap, turntable set. And so we used to go down to the hip hop spot and buy records, and also I was getting into graffiti, like tagging and stuff like that. So I had remember buying graffiti videos and stuff like that, and I would see b-boying in the graffiti videos, and immediately I just would start to try to imitate it. You know what I mean? Like I seen them do head spins, some footwork. And then, so that's how it started for me. I didn't see Beat Street and stuff like that. So actually later, by the time I really was into breaking, by the time I was 14 or 15, you know what I mean? Before,
right.
First 2 years, it was all about I was just trying to, tag and I was just really into, I guess I was just learning about the culture,
Right. Now, so did you have an actual mentor, a person, or was it just teach myself off these graffiti videos?
Yeah, it was teach ourselves. It was me and my brother in the very, very beginning, and then a few of my friends that we had our little graffiti crew called Criminal Habits. We were just young, but we were teaching ourselves. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. Not till a few years later, I had met like people, like other people that breaked, like in my high school. Like I met my boy Ricky, which is Freaky from Knucklehead Zoo, and he had like learned a little bit because Mr. Wiggles lived in town, and he had like met Mr. Wiggles, did a few classes with them or something.
Right.
And so I started getting information from just people around us. You know, it took me like a year and a half to learn how to windmill. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like all years, like because we didn't know how the fuck to do it. So it was like all, you know, and yeah, I'd literally rewind like the video with it was like Redman and Keith Murray, I think, and Crazy Legs and Ken Swift were all in that, and they redid like one of the
Rapper's Delight. That was the Rapper's Delight remake.
Yeah, they remade that. We would literally rewind that one like crazy to try to see moves, and then later on I started getting breaking videos and all that, and so we didn't have much of a mentor at first. You know, I started seeing people like Floor Rock and even like Full Force too. They were like guys that had a little bit more experience than us also at that time. So just little by little, I started gaining like knowledge, you know?
No doubt. So, so what was your original style then? Because I know we know you for the press style, right? But I'm assuming that wasn't your original style.
No, definitely. My original style, like honestly, I had like a bald head, baggy clothes, tribal. I used to wear big fat laces in my Adidas, you know? Like that's how it was in the very beginning, you know, for the first few years, because I was kind of connecting myself more with just like that. It was more of like a LA kind of like graffiti kind of, you know, style. I think you know, and also just like, cause I'm half Mexican, half Spanish, you know?
Okay.
And so I would kind of like in high school, I would kind of like hang out with a lot of Mexican, Asian guys, you know, cause we're the ones just that were breaking, you know. Of course, it was very multicultural too, but you know, back then I feel like it was kind of like segregated a little bit too, you know. It was weird.
Okay.
But so I identified with that style in the very beginning. So I was just doing like old school moves, like, you know, footwork, and you know, but I was very basic. My style started changing later when we, like, within all of our friends, we started realizing, you know what, like, I don't think it's cool to wear Adidas anymore, because we started hearing those things like 3 stripes don't make you a b-boy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, then it turned into like, oh, if you dress in all Adidas, you're just kind of like a poser. You know what I mean? So it started changing. And then we started becoming more of like, I guess like we were kind of started dressing and listening to music that was more of just within our time, you know, like within the updated years, I guess. I don't know.
Right. No doubt. And so you're developing as a dancer, the you know, time is going on. Now, when did you encounter the press style? Like, did you encounter it from what they were doing in Texas, or was it something that organically was created in Vegas?
No, I think what happened in Vegas was we were seeing videos from guys in California, Texas, of course, Seattle, you know, got like Soul Control, seeing like Soul Control and Cujo and you know, Barman, and the whole Soul Control, all, you know, and then all of like those videos, you remember like Freestyle Session, like the first one, and you know, even like the first like Flavor to Burns. And
what do you mean, Gretzky Beyond? Oh no, Biff. They just walked in about a half hour ago. We spotted them. They're already fucking shit up in the circle. People aren't dancing no more. They're watching them dance now. Tracks. My plans are. They keep coming. Look at the guy with the helmet right over there. They're chiming. Damn B-boys. They just keep coming.
These B-boys keep on coming. The cops keep on running. Keep the circle jumping. Making something out of nothing. These B-boys keep on coming. Cops keep on running. Keep the circle jumping, jumping. Make it
Yeah, you so-called breakdance guys. I used to be the master. And you see my head? I got no hair. That's how you're gonna look next week. Thing on your head. I used to be the real king of spin heads, or whatever you call it. You guys look like all you guys do is do the jump. You guys bite, and my old b-boy breakdance guy.
You know, seeing all these videos, we're inspired by everybody, but I think like we just became obsessed with just doing the press style in Vegas. You know,
No doubt.
we would just really just have battles where, like, it was called Battle Club, and we would go to my friend's house, and we'd put in like a few dollars, and then it would be like a little tournament. But it turned into at first it was a normal battle, but then as time passed, it turned into it looked like a press competition. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, doing transfers, and that was guys from like the younger Full Force crew, which was called Future Force, and then Knuckleheads at the time, and then a few other guys just coming from random parts of the city, guys that turned into Rouse crew actually later on.
Oh yeah, I remember the Rouse Punks. I remember them from was it Freestyle Session 7, I believe? Yeah, no doubt.
Punks, they were just like kind of like, you know, Asian kids that had a lot of like transfers and stuff. And then one of the kids that Floor Rock was teaching, his name was Graham. His name is Shorty Rock.
Mm-hmm.
He was like Floor Rock's protege, so he was all foundation, but he was really, really young. So he ended up becoming friends with some of the Fusion Force guys because they were his age, and they were all doing that different style. And back then it was like the Rocksteady kind of guys, or Floor Rock pretty much, and like Rock Skittles that were all foundation. They used to clown what the fuck we were doing, like, you know, because back then, you know, they had little chat rooms. They used to be like, oh, they're just twitching on the floor, it's not breaking. And to us, that kind of fueled us, you know. We're like, man, let's just do it more, you know,
Right?
because we're inspired by, you know, all these different cats from all over, and it was just making us just you know, want to be different, want to be creative. And so there's a whole bunch of us that were really doing all that stuff. So he started hanging out with them, and then he started mixing, you know, his foundation and the press style really well. He was one of the first ones that, like to me, like had a solid vocabulary of foundation more than any of us.
Mm-hmm.
He was trained with the master of foundation, you know, for so long. And when he was younger than us, and then he started mixing it, and it was just like really fluid and really dope. So actually he inspired me, like seeing what he was doing with it, and I was like, oh man, I want to do more stuff like that too, because it just flowed really well.
Wow. So you know, I've interviewed a couple guys who have like an abstract style. Like I talked to Raw Skeleton. I talked to a guy named Rock Lobster out of he's from Louisiana, but he lives in New Jersey. And you know, would you consider yourself, like, your lineage to come also from that abstract movement, or would you say no? And if yes, do you think you like evolved it, kind of like a thesis did?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think we came from a lineage of that abstract stuff. You know, I think we're a part of that journey. You know, like we didn't take it. Like we had taken, you know, someone like Cujo and seeing that, you know, he's just holding planges and just doing this, and, you know, and it got like my boy Chris to master how to do a hand balance thing, you know, and he was like, he was one of the first guys doing that I had seen too, but it came from concepts that these other guys had brought in, you know, and so definitely, and there was like a good period, the first like Knuckleheads like Knucklehead Zoo guys that we started entering together, and we were super young with like tank tops on and the puffy hair, you know, like all those guys, we would just focus on all that, like the transfers and just doing different kind of moves, you know. So I think that kind of like, we were one of the first, you know, guys that started doing that. And then, you know, you know, wants to be like, you know, because we used to say it back then. It was one of our sayings. We used to be like, "Fuck foundation," you know. It was like our way to rebel, right?
Right. And do you not to cut you off, but do you think that attitude stems from the fact that you were shunned, like what you were describing earlier in the chat rooms, like, oh, they're just twitching, so eventually you develop a hardened attitude, like, well, fuck it then, let's rock with what we doing.
It's exactly what happened. Like, we probably wouldn't have gone so strongly on just that, you know, because we didn't have that many moves anyway. So, you know, we were still learning a lot of moves, but I think when we got that kind of feedback, it just made us want to rebel, and it made us want to do it more and more and more. And then we started saying that at foundation. And I remember, like, you know, some of the guys too that would kind of like meet up with us, and we would say that, they would be like, "Oh man, you can't say that." And we were just adamant about it. So I would kind of, even though like by that time I had good footwork, you know what I mean? But I just wouldn't use it, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, and it was at the time, like, if like I look back at it, and it was like, oh my God, when I watched my breaking, I'm like, dude, like I was just not using all this stuff just because for this certain reason. But all in all, I think it pushed us to get more creative with what we were doing. And yeah, so I think it's definitely part of the lineage. I know people have said to me before, because, you know, maybe they only been breaking for like 7 years or 5 years, and then they're like, "Oh, are you the creator of this style?" I'm like, "No, man, I'm just a part of it." And I didn't quit breaking. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like stop using those moves because I had done them for so long, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna keep this going." It's really part of me, you know?
Right. Dope, man. So who else would you put in that lineage? Because like you were saying, you didn't create it, you just fall into that lineage and you kept doing it. Who are some of the people that also developed that style that either maybe didn't continue with it or didn't get as big with it,
Right.
from your recollection?
Like people that didn't really get too much, that kind of like quit or maybe just stopped doing it. Guys like Byron from Knuckleheads. Also, he was really innovative with the way he flowed with it, you know. And he was kind of like ahead of his time. When I watch it now, it's like he was almost like a little Vengeance, but with transfers and stuff. But he flowed, you know, he used his feet too, you know, which was something that, like, at the time, it was more like I'm gonna try to keep my feet off the ground the whole time. But he was already moving forward to, like, you know, connecting it. Another guy, Graham Shorty Rock, that I was talking to you about. Another guy too named BJ from Rouse, super dope. And of course, you guys know Jin. If you know, Jin was like the most popular, you know, transfer guy, I think, at a time in Texas. And but he also stopped too. So if he would have kept going, I feel like, you know, he would have still been relevant. You know what I mean? Like,
No doubt. Did you ever get a crack at him?
no, I never got to battle against him, but I was friends with him because I had gone down to Texas. It was like the Havoc Coro, but was it Havoc? I don't know, but it must have been like 2001, and I went out there and I stayed with Jive Turkeys, and like I, you know, got really cool with all of them. So definitely Jin was like a homie. And then the first time we battled as Super Crew, Jin was part of that too. Jive Turkeys was actually originally one of the crews that was down with Super Crew when we formed that crew.
Wow. I want to get into that super crew, but before I do that, I want to talk about like the Knucklehead Zoo. So are you one of the founding members of Knucklehead Zoo, or is that a crew you joined?
Yeah, no, I'm one of the founding members of Knucklehead Zoo. As far as the whole Knuckleheads, because there's Knuckleheads Cali, how we first I had gotten into Knuckleheads, but then we created Knucklehead Zoo to kind of like make our own thing. Because when we so when I was in high school, you know, I was breaking, and then kind of like we just started kind of forming our crew with the people that was in our high school together. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we had like our little squad. We were called Broken Legacy, you know, and because we were bringing back the legacy that had been broken of the 80s b-boys in our mind. I don't know.
Right.
So then two guys come to our school and just show up, and they're from LA. And back then too, you could totally tell everyone's style, like like where they were from because of the way that they dressed, everything, the way they did their hair.
Yes, kids, we are talking about the regional style era where people knew exactly where you were from as soon as you hit the door, before you hit the floor.
Yeah.
Like you said, you could tell by dress code, and then once you hit the floor, the way you spoke to the music. Oh, he's from Florida. Oh, he's from California. Oh, he's from Texas. No doubt.
Yes. These two guys came and they were obviously from Cali, you know what I mean? And it was Chris and Kenny. So then Chris and Kenny moved to Vegas, and then we had been, you know, breaking with them, you know, because we're in the same school, and we became really good friends. And then Kenny was like, yo, let's get all you guys in Knuckleheads, you know, because we were Broken Legacy, and they were like Kenny was in Knuckleheads, and Chris was in another crew called like Cab Crew. So then we decided, all right, let's do Knuckleheads, and to make it better, we're gonna do, or not better, but to make it different or our own, we ended up doing Knucklehead Zoo.
Wow, see, I never knew that. I always thought Knuckleheads Cali came from Knucklehead Zoo, but it's actually the other way around. Knuckleheads. Well, yeah. So when did they become Knuckleheads Cali? Just when you guys became Knucklehead Zoo?
No, they remained as Knuckleheads, but I think the first set of squad of Knuckleheads, they kind of didn't really continue. Like some of them kind of quit, and then only a few kind of kept going. But then Millhouse was the one that at first he was part of, you know, he was kind of like Chris. He was in the same crew as Chris. He was in Cab Crew, but he was like always with Knuckleheads. And I think Cab Crew fell off. And then when he joined Knuckleheads, Cali, as what it is now, like he was still a friend of ours. So he would come to Vegas, and he wanted to like get down in the zoo and be a part of the zoo. But then, you know, he couldn't take Vegas, so he ended up leaving within like a month or something.
That desert heat, man.
Yeah, he was back in Cali, and then they started doing Knuckleheads Cali, and you started seeing Knuckleheads Cali more when like Mike the Cure got in the crew from Floorgasms, and then they started like recruiting and building this, you know, what they are now.
Right. Was there ever any rivalry there?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like we ended up getting to some beef. Like when Mike the Cure got in the crew, Mike the Cure was, you know, he was a little bit just more wild. Like he kind of had the jackass mentality, and he had another guy named Josh that was with them, and they would do all these crazy kind of pranks. And I remember they had came out with this video where like Josh was like butt naked doing air flares, and it was kind of like us at the zoo at that time. We were like not only like trying to see what we could do on the next level of our breaking, like we wanted to like we started getting into show business too. We were trying to do shows. We were trying to just do more and look professional, you know what I mean? And
right.
Hecha para los que controlan su destino. Para los que con su música crean una experiencia única. Hecha para los que representan lo mejor de aquí. Para los que alcanzan la perfección. Hecha para ti. Medalla like, el sabor que nos mueve.
So then we ended up like, you know, like I remember, I think it was Ricky like had said something to them like online, like, you know, I don't know if he said something like, you know, mean or whatever. Let's just say that.
No, that.
And then and I remember getting a phone call from like Bert, and then we started going back and forth, and we were talking crap to each other, and it was like, all right, I guess like we weren't cool. And then yeah, so we ended up battling like a few times in Cali whenever we'd see them, and it was cool. To be honest, it was like a legit rivalry, and I think it made us both get better. You know what I mean? We were both like trying to be the better squad, you know?
No doubt.
Yeah, it was dope.
Then fast forward, we get Super Crew. Now, from the outside looking in, right?
Right.
From the outside looking in, it looked like okay, so there was always crews of homies that weren't in the same original crew that would compete together, right?
Right.
From the outside looking in, it looked like Super Crew was developed just to destroy jams and win everything. Is that is that what it was about? Like we're about to start getting this money, or was
No,
it? What was the connection there?
yeah, it was before the money. It was freestyle session 5, I believe, 5 or 6. So we were like still the young guys. Like we couldn't mess with crews like Havoc Coro and Massive Monkeys and LA Breakers, and like those were like the top notch crews to us. And we were still like we were younger. We were the underdogs. We didn't have as much experience, but we had so much energy and we just wanted to freaking blow it up. That was our whole thing. It's like we got to hit them blow ups and just blow it up.
Right.
And so we wanted to call them all out. But the only way that we could do it was like, okay, because we were cool with Battle Monkeys and Full Force and Jive Turkeys. We had like battled like Full Force and Knucklehead Zoo battled Battle Monkeys in the Cypher at Bboy Summit like a few months prior to that freestyle session.
Mm-hmm.
And like after we battled each other because it was like we were kind of like similar, we just seemed like, oh shit, like these guys kind of look like us, but they weren't, so we just
right
for a minute. And after we battled, we're just like, dude, you guys are freaking dope. And then we just ended up became friends. Like we would travel back and forth to practice with each other. And then I remember on the chat room, it was like the B-Boy World chat room, I was talking to IQ, and he was like, yo, let's call everybody out, blah blah blah, let's put our forces together and just represent the younger generation and call out the older guys. So that's how Super Crew originally started.
Wow, that is dope. And then it just stuck, huh?
Yeah, it kind of just stuck. We of course, after that battle, we went and still was representing with our crews, for the most part. But then Super Crew ended up being kind of like just like almost a party thing. We would just like Battle Monkeys would come to Vegas, and then it was all 3 crews like there, and we would just like party and you know what I mean, kick it and practice and break. It was more of a lifestyle type of thing, you know what I mean?
No doubt, man. That's real fresh. Okay, so follow me on this one. The year is 3000, and there's a time capsule, right, that one of your descendants finds. And in this time capsule, you've placed 3 battles to prove to your future generations that you was once one of the coolest cats in your culture. What would those 3 battles be?
Oh man.
Or just not even 3. Just what are some of your more memorable battles?
Yeah. No, I can think of that. So I think for me, one of my favorites is IBE 2003. I don't know if you've seen that footage, but it's like because all versus all.
Yeah.
There's just this moment where I backflipped off of rubber legs, and at that year, like I was doing it all year. I was trying to backflip off everybody, but so he was doing like a move, and it was like similar to something RJ was doing, and RJ was there, and he was just like calling him a biter, and then like I flipped off of him and landed, and like no one knew kind of like how to react, and the whole place just went nuts. The circle collapsed.
that you can do this. Listen, all these people inside, yeah, they paid 30 euros, yeah, they paid 30 euros to see some b-boying, and that's some fucking fighting. Is that right?
The whole German team was like, they like immediately they just felt attacked. And they just wanted to fight me. You know what I mean, bro? It was so nuts, and like at the same time, like I was hype, you know, just so much energy, but also like seeing like these 10 German guys just like wanting to freaking bum rush me and just punch me, and then Tyrone came and like got in front of me and literally pulled me through. And then the circle just collapsed. And he pulled me through and like took me upstairs so that nothing would happen. And he was just like, "What the hell?" And I was just looking, and I was like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" Like the whole, it was just nuts. You know what I mean? And then we ended up like they got on the mic, opened the circle back up, and we came down there and just finished the battle. You know, it was like just that venue of Nighttown, it was a Nighttown in Rotterdam where IB used to be. The energy was just nuts, you know, because it was just people there for the circle and then just rows and rows and rows on top of people just looking over watching. So the energy that went into that circle was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I remember those old IBEs, man. Those were the illest ones in my opinion too. But okay, that's one. What else? Wait, before you go, Tyrone, you said, what's his name? Tyrone?
Tyrone, yeah.
Is that the guy with the infamous stay off the man's clothes? Is that Tyrone?
I don't know.
When they threw that, the Koreans threw the hat and they had to stop the battle, and he's like, "Stay off the man's clothes." That's his hat.
That's Mario. That's Mario.
Okay.
But Tyrone's the other guy that's always on the mic too.
Okay, no doubt. Word.
Those
all right,
guys are definitely shout outs to them, man. Those are good guys. Another battle. Ooh, I think. Let's see. There's been some dope ones, but okay, here's a good one. So Mr. Freeze had an event, and it just reminded me of this too because he put up a clip. But Mr. Freeze had this event called UBC, right? And he did it in Vegas for a while, and then he had a big one in Vegas, and then he ended up doing a small one in New York that was just like a Cypher, right? And so he picked 5 b-boys, and this footage never really got around. Like, he had put little clips of like kind of documentary style, but never showed the whole battle.
We're here at LaGuardia Airport waiting for Ben from Super Crew Knuckleheads. And yeah, we've been waiting for like 2 hours. Ben, so you owe me a steak. Cause I'm over here with Frankie. So when you see this video, you're gonna owe me a steak with some mashed potatoes, some nice little green peppers, some A1 sauce, and a movie. You're gonna take me out to the movies too. Early, you guys are starving, huh? I'm hungry too, man. I'm hungry too. You guys been here since 7? Yeah, what the fuck? What's up, man? Damn, why you come so early? It says on my itinerary I get in here at 9 o'clock. So Freeze told us 7:19. Can't listen to Freeze though.
You're complete. Let's go.
Oh wow.
But it was a Cypher, right, with me, Moy, Tata, Day Day, and Gravity, right? So it was us 5, and it was just unlimited. You know what I mean? Just go. You know, like who can control the Cypher? And that battle to me was like one of the illest battles I've been in, just because of how raw it was. You know what I mean? Like it was definitely like it wasn't one of those lights, camera, action battle, but even though it was recorded and it was still like official, it had a vibe, you know. But it was right there in New York, so you had a lot of like you know, Crazy Legs was there, and like just like Martha Cooper, the original photographer from those books, like she had.
These experiences really prepared me for an adventurous life in New York City. And when I first arrived in the city in 1975, the city was really going through some hard times. It was close to bankruptcy. There were vast areas of boarded up buildings and vacant lots. And these were really dangerous places because there was a lot of drug dealing. People didn't dare to go there. But for me, these were really interesting places to photograph. So while I was working for the newspaper, looking for those weather photographs, I used to drive through these neighborhoods, and I began a project looking for kids who were doing creative things, building things, while their parents weren't watching. So one day, I met a boy whom I had photographed with his pigeon coop, and he showed me his drawings in his notebook. And he explained to me that he was practicing his name, his nickname, which was He3. He was practicing his name to paint a wall. And he asked me, why don't you take pictures of graffiti? And actually, I had never really understood that graffiti, that I had seen everywhere in New York, were actually nicknames that kids had written on the wall. And as soon as he showed me that notebook and I saw that he was basically a designer, designing a logo, I became interested, and he said, well, I can introduce you to a king of graffiti. And of course, that was something I couldn't turn down. And the king turned out to be Dondi, who in fact was a prolific train writer and widely admired for his style. So Dondi invited me to come back and spend a day with him and his friends in his room while he was designing. They all were designing their names in their notebooks. Because graffiti wasn't just a matter of writing your name, you had to write your name with style. But one of the things that impressed me about Dondi was that he always took a picture whenever he put a piece on a train. And he had a photo album, his own photo album of his own photographs. Just like the early explorers, he was documenting his own expeditions. And because I could take better pictures, I was a professional photographer, and I soon began to give them photos, I was welcomed into the world of graffiti. And pretty soon, I was so fascinated by it that I quit my full-time job at the Post, and I started going up to the Bronx, where there were these vast areas of open lots, but you could see the trains coming and going. And I spent hours and hours and hours just standing there, waiting for fresh, new graffiti pieces to come by on the train.
Like a lot of photos of the battle that I ended up getting, and was like, wow, man, super dope. But it was just a vibe. Like, it was so freaking dope. The DJ played Just Begun, like the break, over and over, literally like the whole time. But it just felt so, oh man, and just like the competition level too was freaking dope. Those guys are all monsters, and we went at it, and then I ended up going into a tiebreak. So out of that, and Benji was the judge. So out of that Cypher, they picked me and Gravity to do a tiebreaker to win, and I ended up losing in the tiebreaker against Gravity. But I was all mad. I thought that I won, and I was like, talking crap, and it was dope, man. And like, it was epic.
No doubt, man. So then, number 3. There you go. You got a third one?
Let me think.
And it doesn't have to be with just you. It could be even with your crew.
Yeah. What's crazy when I think about like my breaking career, there's like the generation like of just like knuckleheads when we were all freaking young, like 17 years old, and then in my 20s and then in my 30s too, it's crazy. So, but another epic one that I would say, man, to be honest, one of my favorite ones, because it was just about the generation of where we were at, and like kind of going back to all that whole transfer days, and you know what I mean, and the original Knucklehead Zoo guys is a Knucklehead Zoo versus Sour Patch, and it was a jam that Robbie Utmost threw, and he had this exhibition battle. And yeah, it was like when, Sour Patch had like Thosh and like, Paranoid Android was there with a bald head. They looked like vampires, and it was crazy. Like it was really dope because it was it just showed like just where breaking kind of was going at the time,
No doubt, man. So then Super Crew decides to compete in America's Best Dance Crew. Now your friends had just won it, season 1, right?
Yeah.
And then what made you guys come out for season 2? Was it just like, well, if they can win it, those are the homies, we can win it too? Or was it something else? And how did it feel to get that victory?
So yeah, the Jabbawockees doing that show kind of opened up our eyes. I think well, actually what had happened too was like with Knucklehead Zoo, we had just won the like Battle of the Year USA like the year before that, and we did that like we had traveled over there and we did this documentary. It was called Planet Bboy. that ended
I
up
remember that.
being like the basis for the movie Battle of the Year. So we were doing like a little promotional thing in New York, and this is the first time I seen America's Best Dance Crews. I was in New York and I was sitting down and I turned on the TV and I see
2 crews have risen above the rest, faced every challenge, and pushed their team to the limit. But only 1 crew can be the champion. America has spoken. The crew that will win the $100,000 grand prize and will make history as America's Best Dance Crew is... Jabbawockees. Congratulations, you are America's Best Dance Crew.
Chris Styles, my friend from Vegas that was in Full Force, but also in Jabbawockees and Rainin'. And I see Jabbawockees on TV, like smiling and with the confetti and all this stuff because they had just won. So I didn't even know about the show until the first time I saw it was the finale. And I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, they're like straight up gonna be famous, you know?
Right.
And so at that time I was doing a lot with Knucklehead Zoo. Like we weren't doing Super Crew stuff at that moment because like our squad was just already a lot, you know? And so I kind of like committed a lot of my energy to just, you know, building up Knucklehead Zoo and all that. And so Super Crew had actually auditioned for season 1, but without me, you know, without the Knucklehead Zoo presence, you know, because we were kind of like doing our own thing, and Full Force and Battle Monkeys were kind of teaming up more. So they had auditioned for season 1, but they didn't make it. So then season 2 came and season 1 happened and Jabbawockees won, and I think Dunock was on tour with like Fergie or something like that, and Ronnie was like doing his thing, and but Ronnie was the one that was like, yo, we could win this, you know what I mean, because he was talking to Chris all the time, and Chris was like, dude, trust me, you guys could win this. So like Ronnie hit up John Dunock and was like, yo man, we gotta audition again. And then Dunock was at this time in his career, you know, he was touring with like major artists, and he was also working on his music. So in his mind, he was kind of like, nah, dude, I'm gonna start being like a performer, you know, like an artist, you know. So he wanted to like pursue that. And then I was busy with Knucklehead Zoo stuff. And then so John had said like, yo, the only way that if I audition is that if we get Knucklehead Zoo, like 2 guys from there, 2 guys from Full Force, and 2 guys from you know, to keep it original Super Crew. And then so they hit me up and I was like, yeah, dude, let's do it. I felt like it was just, I don't know, just the timing felt right, you know what I mean, to bring the original squad back together. And for like a situation like that, I was like, wow. And then just looking at the show, like it did require like, you know, to have to do like choreography, things like that. And, you know, so some of the guys in my crew kind of like weren't as open to doing, you know, choreography like that. Like I had done Culture Shock before, like when I started, you know, getting into like the industry, because I wanted to work, I wanted to make money, you know. So I had like done Culture Shock, and I remember like at that time, if you did Culture Shock and stuff like that, like the B-boys kind of be like, oh man, that shit's whack and blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, I was like, I just want to learn as much as I can. So when this opportunity came up, you know, like I felt confident going into it with guys like Dunock and Ronnie, you know, RJ, and then we ended up taking Mikey. So it was me, Mikey, Dunock, RJ was Battle Monkeys, and then Full Force was supposed to be Ronnie and Rock, right? Rock from Full Force. But the day of the audition, when Ronnie was driving down, Rock ended up getting like an eye infection.
Wow.
So he couldn't come. And then so they ended up hitting up Vex and got Vex to take his spot. So then that's how it ended up being 3 Battle Monkeys, and then Ronnie, and then me and Mikey. So yeah, and then we auditioned the first day. Like, we came and we literally met in the parking lot. And we started putting together this no, we met at Dunoc's apartment. We rehearsed our routine. We put together this routine that was garbage, and we showed up and we auditioned the day of, and we knew the casting director. His name is Napoleon. You know, he's from Vegas, and I'd worked with him before on different stuff, and he was like the homie, you know, but he was getting into like big situations in LA, and so we knew, like, you know, Napoleon would give it to us straight, you know, whether we were gonna make it or not. And we did our routine, and it was fucking garbage. Like, I don't know. And then he came to us. He's like, "Go home and rehearse and get that together. I'm getting you guys past this first day, but you're lucky because I know you guys. But if you bring that shit tomorrow, I can't do nothing for you." You know?
It's a bird! It's a plane! No, stupid, it's Super Crew!
We're fairly versatile in a lot of ways, but we are b-boys. That's just where we shine.
We can take anything that we see and make it b-boy.
I'm sorry to break the news to you guys, but you have to do a lot of work in the summertime because you're coming to the live auditions!
Super Crew! Super Crew! Super Crew! Super Crew! We made it!
So the West brings us Supreme Soul, Fanny Pack, Team Millennia, and Super Crew, all competing to become America's best dance crew.
And dude, we just changed the whole routine. We made it just simpler and just stuff that we knew would be memorable, and like our blow up stuff, you know, like, all right, big blow up, commando, big blow up, you know what I mean? Just cut out all the fat, and we ended up doing it, and then, like, yeah, it was all history after that. It's crazy.
Wow. I interviewed a guy out of he's from Phoenix, and his name is Slimfly, and they won under Electrolytes some seasons later. I believe it was season 7.
Yeah.
What I asked him, like, you know, what came from it, and he shared some of what, you know, what came from it afterwards as far as industry opportunities. Now, you guys win right after Jabbawockees. Was there a huge industry push for you guys on the level of Jabbawockees, or was it just like, good job winning, here's your money, we'll holla at you?
No, man, it was huge. Like, our timing was the craziest timing because Jabbawockees popped the bubble, right? And
right.
The next season was only a couple months later, you know? And then we were on TV, and the first season is a big hit. So they're like, second season we're going in. They dumped a bunch of money into the show. Like, we had like the longest season out of, so we were on TV the most. Super Crew's on TV the most out of any of the seasons.
Wow.
So it was nuts. Like, because Jabbawockees had blown it up, by the middle of the season, like, there was like fans like coming to the hotel. Like, it was like
wow.
I don't know, what do you call it? Like
a pop star life?
Yeah, for a second, like, it was just a big wave of just like, whoa, this is crazy. And
wow.
Yeah, and then so after we won, we did a tour. So we did a nationwide tour, and it was us and Jabbawockees on the same tour bus, and we were doing like stadiums. Like, we did Madison Square Garden, like all these, you know, of course they would do, it was like half of the stadium, but for all dance, you know, like, so it was like us, Jabbawockees, Acid, Fanny Pack, and I think, and Break Skate. So we're on tour with this show, and dude, it was nuts. Like, the lines outside were crazy. People were getting like Jabbawocky and Super Crew tattoos, like Super tattoos, signing autographs. Like, it was nuts. And like, management people were coming at us, like trying to manage us, and, you know, throwing money our way. Like, it was crazy. Like, the amount of money that was made on that tour, like, for like MTV, because they were smart, and they're like, okay, we're gonna own all the merch. So they did all the merch at the tours. We couldn't sell our own merch, but dude, it was nuts. Those shirts everywhere. I remember like we did a shirt with Cross, like the Armory. He made our Super Crew shirts, and those things were everywhere. Like it was mainstream culture for a quick second. You know what I mean? Like you could go to the mall and buy our shirts at Chic. They were all over Chic and like stuff. It was nuts, man. It was definitely like the perfect time. And it just exploded, and we were just right there. So we were very lucky, you know.
No doubt. Now, what do you think is because Jabbawockees is still at it? What do you think it is about them that separated them from all of the following seasons with as far as their marketability and their ability just to keep the ball rolling? Do you think it has something to do with like the mystique because you don't know who they are and you don't see their face, or do you think it has something to do with like you can be a Jabbawockee for Halloween, or like what do you think it is?
All those reasons. Like from the get-go, I mean, it's the mask. You know what I mean? Like they had the product. You know, they had something that was like, this is what makes Jabbawockees. You know, Super Crew, we had this, but it was still based around us. Like if you took one guy out of our crew, and if you're a fan of Super Crew, you would be like, oh, okay, who's that new guy? You know, or if you replace somebody, you'd be like, wait, who's that? You know, and like with Jabbawockees, it's a brand. That mask made them a brand. You know, so it's really and even to this day, you know what I mean? Like it's not exactly like the same guys that were there in America's Best Dance Crew dancing on stages all over the world, but it's their brand that they created. It's their ideas, their choreography, you know, it's still their vision. So that's what's so like they found, and I don't know, like, you know, like they have an exact story of how it all came about, but it was kind of they kind of stumbled on something that was just like exactly what a dancer needs, you know what I mean? To kind of like, oh, excuse me. Okay, man. Yeah, but you know, the dancer needs a product, you know? And we never really had that. And with Jabbawockees, they had that product. And I mean, look where they're at now. You know, it's taken them so far. It's amazing.
Right. I've had conversations with people about like the reason why breaking hasn't, you know, become more of a marketable sport, so on and so forth. And I usually compare it to skateboarding. And I think that's part of what it comes down to. Kind of what you're alluding to with the Jabbawockees is to be a skateboarder, there's something I have to actually go purchase. I have to go buy a skate, and skateboards ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about like $100+ purchases, then you got to get wheels, trucks, so on and so forth. Even with the Jabbawockees, like you were saying, with Super Crew, I don't know how you do the thing, but I can do my hand like this for free. You know what I'm saying? But to be a Jabbawockee, I need that. You can't go around with the outfit on showing your face talking about I'm a Jabbawockee. They'd be like, no, you Illskillz, or no, you Ben. You know what I'm saying? But you got the mask on. It's like, well, he is a Jabbawockee. Check him out. You know what I'm saying? So it's really interesting. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's amazing, dude. Like, you know, I worked with Jabbawockees for 7 years. You know, I was behind the mask as well, and just to see the impact and see the way it lights up people's faces, like it's pure amazing entertainment. And then, but they're very, you know, what made them very, like, to me, what I think what made them very successful in the get-go is by the time they, you know, did America's Best Dance Crew, they had a catalog of choreography and numbers and all these shows from like when they used to perform at like Culture Shock San Diego and all these different things. And they would tie everything in very nicely. Like, you know, like they would start the way that they ended their last routine. And those little things told a story. So it gave you so much content, and it gave you so much, like, it's more than just dancing, you know what I mean? And then plus with them, and they simplified their movements too, so that you can understand it to the music, you know? Before that, I feel like before Jabbawockees, everybody was just so full out. You see dancers and they'll just be like, go, ha, 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 ha. And sometimes you lose a little bit, right? Because like Jabbawockees, you know, they can have a moment where they're going slow and then, you know what I mean? And you see it, you hear it happen at the same time, and it's like, oh, I get it. So they were speaking that language to people, and it really revolutionized dance and everything, I believe.
Wow. So you're saying they basically they advanced it by simplifying it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's dope. And you mentioned a little while ago about an experience being a part of the Battle of the Year competition. Now, you guys have, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have you guys represented the U.S. twice overseas?
Aus den Vereinigten Staaten from the US of A, we got Knucklehead Zoo! What? Okay, we hear you. It's all good. No, it wasn't Poland. Stop it. What's wrong with you, man? I didn't say that. You said it. Nah, just bad jokes here. All right. Next crew. From far, far away. They came from far, far away. These guys came a long way, man. You know that. You mentioned that. From the U.S. of A. The motherland of hip-hop, baby. Uh-oh. Don't move or something like that. We just got love to give. Okay? Nothing but love to them. Make some noise for Knucklehead Zoo!
Yo, what's up? I'm Knucklehead Zoo from Las Vegas. Represent. Crew up.
Zoo, baby. What's up,
Zoo.
baby? Bye, Zoo.
Bam!
Okay, so we got the next crew coming up,
Next crew
right?
coming to the stage.
The next crew is coming from the USA.
Dope.
Please give a big applause for the Knucklehead Zoo.
Yeah, we did more. We did like 3. I did 3 with the crew, and I think they did 1 more. Oh no, and then Zoologic did 1. So it's like 4 times.
Wow. Damn, that's so what
We've never
like,
won it.
Huh? That's what I was gonna ask you. Why do you think, like, with all of the experience that you guys had doing it repeatedly, why do you think like you never were able to bring back the title?
Okay, so the first year our show just wasn't good enough. You know, we weren't experienced enough yet. The second year was that when we did the Ninjas. Our show got better, but then it was too theatrical, you know. So the first year, like, we just went out breaking. We're like, all right, Vegas style. We had on like these suits and kind of, or like these jackets, and
I remember the sport coat.
We were trying to have our, and at this time we used to break, like, this is when we first was like, all right, I'm 20, 22, 23. We were going out and breaking like at bars and having parties. And so we were trying to be like these cool Vegas guys that break. And then we're on stage and we didn't make it. Like we just didn't put our show together like in that formula. You know, we were always trying to be, I felt like, a little too creative, you know? And then the next year we got real creative and we did like the Ninja show, which in Battle of the Year USA turned out really well. Like, we even like edited a video that like the video is playing behind us. We just kind of like, at this point, Knucklehead Zoo was like really going like a step further than most crews. We started getting jumpsuits. Everyone's matching these Adidas Predator jumpsuits, you know what I mean, down to the shoes. You know, we found out where the venue was going to be, and we found out if they were able to play video, you know what I mean? And they were able to play video. And then we had, so I went and I made a freaking crazy like Japanimation like video according to the music, you know, with like clever little things. There was even a moment where there's like a picture being taken, like sound effect, and I put like anime titties on there, you know what I mean? And like it was just entertainment. So we kind of prepared, to really give them a show. So yeah, when we got to the venue, we had like our video guy go and like hook up all the stuff for like the projector and all that. And we didn't have like stage people there helping us or nothing. We just did it without any permission. We just did it. You know what I mean? So it happened, and it made a dope show. And then we went to the finals, and we always get one spot before a chance to battle. So I think it was like top 4, right? We would get fifth place, like every time. So we were always so close to making it, but we never made it. And then this last time we did it was with Zoologic with the kids. And this time the formula with the show was like perfect because like Eric had really like worked with the kids so much on the show. So it was so clean. And then some of the older guys came in and just helped out. But then when we went to do the battle, we just lost in the battle. It was still like the kids kind of moment. So we still had them out there, battling and all that. So yeah, I mean, Battle of the Year, it's definitely a formula. If you understand the formula and you don't really care about what you really feel, like, I guess like you have to like play the game, you know what I mean? And I think like us as a crew, we're always like trying to really like express something, or like we're trying to keep it real to like ourselves. Like, nah, man, we got to have it like, we got to come out like this and do this, and you know what I mean? But sometimes you got to realize, man, competition's it's a sport, it's a game too, you know what I mean? So you got to play.
You got to, when you leave it up to judges, you do sometimes have to sacrifice a piece of who you are just to fit into whatever it is they're looking for. Now, what would you say it is about the Battle of the Year, like you were saying, formula, that doesn't exactly rock with the way we get down in the States? Because it seems like these other countries are more bred for these shows and these performances to get into the battle. Now, if we get to the battle, it's a whole nother story. But the part that we seem to trip up on, is putting together the level of production show that they're looking for over there in Europe. What do you think is the reason, like, why we don't get down like that?
I think there's a few reasons. I feel like in other countries too, there's, a lot of the crews are always doing theater shows. They're always working together, you know what I mean? And also just in America, dude, like everyone is about their own unique style, you know what I mean? So you can have like a dancer like Kid David and a dancer like, let's just say like Casper, right? Like they're in the same crew, but they have a completely like different set of skills, you know what I'm saying? Like they dance completely different, they look completely, they practice completely different. Like I feel like America is all about these uniqueness and different kind of styles, and knowing, it's still, I think it still has a stem of just our upbringing of just understanding that, don't bite, or, don't be looking like, no, that's my style, I did that, or, you know what I mean? Right. So America has all these like really dope, like individual, like all-stars and stuff, and crews too, of course. But as far as the teamwork, like I've noticed that there aren't many like really organized American crews and crews too that also be like, you know what, I'm going to learn, like I'm going to be the power head for the crew, and this guy is going to learn power just the same as me, so we can do these routines together for the better of the squad. You know what I mean? No one's thinking like that. Everyone's like, okay, you can do flare 90 to that, I'm going to do flare, air chair to this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so they almost do it like sports positions over there. Like, okay, I'm the quarterback, you're going to be the receiver, you're going to be the linebacker, and we're going to learn different skills, but it all puts together for this team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely a lot of crews like that, and they're just more organized and more tactical with it. I feel like America's we're not really like that. And I think too, also because of the opportunity too, like it's not that easy for, a crew to like get together and put together a routine and go and have a place for them to perform that routine, you know what I mean? Like once a week or once a month even, right. It's got to come out of our pockets usually.
Yeah.
So
sometimes I also think of like, what's the incentive? If we had a very like developed performance, like b-boy performance scene, that we would probably be a lot better, but we have a developed battle scene. Like show up and let's get it popping, you know? Like so that's where we excel versus these other countries that do have a more developed like performance scene and more of these like big production opportunities. But yeah, word, man.
True.
No
Yeah,
doubt. And then it seemed that all of a sudden you kind of disappeared for a minute. What happened during that time? I think it was like maybe when did you battle Wing? Because it was before that.
Yeah, it was before that. So when I battled Wing was when I was like my first battle back in at least like 2 years, or around that time. It's because of the whole Super Crew thing. After I did the show, we were literally busy. Like we did that tour, and as soon as we came back from the ABDC tour, we did our own Super Crew tour that it lasted 2 years long. Like we didn't stop. We were like, I would come home like for short amount of time and then be out, and it just kept going for 2 years solid. It was nuts. And then the economy like crashed. This is like
the housing bubble.
Apple's up more than 6% right now. Google about 3%, but Dell, Intel, Research Motion, and Microsoft are all to the upside. Look how strong.
Did not disappoint. 400 points higher. Yes, indeed. The markets roar higher last 30 minutes of trading as volatility once again rules the day.
Most of the techs this morning, if not all of them, have just exploded to the down 1.7% here, a loss of 37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%.
We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
2-year no yields went from 190 to 166 in the blink of an eye.
On the NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped out.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
From the financial capital of the world, the opening bell is going to ring in 5 seconds, and to be honest with you, we wish it wouldn't.
Yeah, that whole thing. Like, when that crashed, like the first thing to go is entertainment.
Right.
So everything started to slow down. And then I came back home and I was like in Vegas again. Like, that's why when this pandemic rolled around, I was like, shit, I've been through this kind of stuff.
Right. No
but
doubt.
I remember home and being like, okay, well, we don't have any bookings, like, so I was just doing shows in Vegas, and this was right before I started doing Jabbawockees also, but I really just was hungry to get back out there and show up at a battle and just go do a battle. And Just Rock had hit me up. It was like, yo, like he had Wing, and he was trying to find someone to battle him, and he asked me to do it, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. And yeah, and then I came back in the game. I was ready though. I was like, from performing a lot, I was like in great shape. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I needed to like, just get it out. I just needed a battle, and yeah. So that was kind of like me jumping back into the game.
And this is my personal opinion. You kind of destroyed him. Like it was just round for round. It was just like no contest for somebody that was as good as Wing is. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow. I don't know if he didn't show up that day or what was going on, but you was on point and he wasn't, and you made him pay for it. That was dope. And we were talking about it off cam, but you might have been one of the first people to battle one of these Koreans once Korea had definitely put their stamp on the map. You might have been one of the first ones to bring them over here and battle.
Yeah, that's true. I think I don't think that happened before that, and I never really thought about it like that, until we had talked about it. But definitely, like, it was a big deal that he was here. Like, I remember because Korea had blown up, and everybody was watching them all over the internet. And there was definitely a lot of people at that event, to see that battle. It was like, I was like, oh, this is packed, and it was dope. It was really dope. I felt honored too.
Go ahead, my bad. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that I did feel really honored, you know, to be back into the game and then to have a battle like that, you know, it was dope.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, man, it felt really good, like how well you performed during that battle because, I remember when we were talking about it that Planet Bboy came out.
Are you ready? Okay, let's go!
Korea is a b-boy phenomena country because they develop their skills in such a short time. What Germany or France did in 15 years, they in a way managed this within 5 years. They came out of nowhere, bringing the level of power moves on a completely new level. Doing power moves nobody has seen before. They got so popular in Europe and all over the world.
On a technical level, there is nobody that could touch the Koreans. Nobody.
It was a lot of people that saw that documentary that didn't really know about breaking. And so they were just like, I remember people coming up to me like, you break? Oh, yeah, man, you seen the Koreans? And I'm like, bro, you know, it was all about the Koreans. Like the U.S. was weak and the Koreans were great. You know what I'm saying? And I would try to explain to them, like, you know, if we ever when we get to battle, then we hold our own. Let's not get it twisted. And then when that happened between you and Wing, I was like, yeah, see what I'm saying now? You know,
Exactly. It's like, let us get a chance to go at them, you know, and at that time too, like big ups to the whole Korean scene because they definitely put in the work that got them all of that, you know, like worldwide fame and recognition. But definitely, like, I mean, our argument was always, you know, yo, this is an American culture, and you know what I'm saying, like this came from like Americans and just our mentality, you know, like we are a little different. So that's why, like, at that time it was like, oh, you know, Korea is the best. And but like you said, it was really just in that whole organized crew show element, you know what I mean? Like they were the best in that, you know what I mean? But America's had like so many dope b-boys and still do, you know. So it's definitely like, yeah,
no doubt. Have you traveled over there and competed over there?
Yeah, I've been to Korea a few times. Yeah,
no doubt.
But the time I went there, it was just to judge.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've judged there. I did like the first, you know, R16, very R16. I was there with Knucklehead Zoo. We competed over there.
Right.
And the BBIC also. I went to that first one also. So yeah, definitely, man, Korea's dope.
No doubt. Now over there, because you've been over there, so. You know, like, America's a huge place as far as like, you know, land, and you know, sometimes people are spread out. Now, all these top b-boys that you hear about out of Korea, are they all pretty much in the same spot, or like is everybody this dope, or do you know what I'm saying? Like they never show the levels. You just see the illest people. You know what I'm saying? Versus you don't see the beginners or the intermediate guys. It's just like. You got Hong Ten and Wing in them, like as if that's the whole country. You know what I'm saying?
No, like, man, their skill level is pretty up there. Like even when they're beginners too, like you see just the formula that they really teach, and they really like, you know, give them a lot of knowledge, and they work hard. You know, like you can see guys that have been dancing like not that long, and they're already pretty good. You know, their foundation is good and things like that. But then also there's like, you know, they're real organized with it. Like they'll have their main crew, and then once those guys start getting a little older, they got their second wave of youngsters coming in. You know what I mean? And so like a major league, minor league type of thing, you know. So they're like, they work hard, you know, and they're smart, and they understand the movements and the style, and they teach each other, and they help each other out, and they have their studios. You know what I mean? Like you know, like a crew like Gamblers and Rivers and all that, they're like established in their communities too, like the tourist organization of Korea.
지식을 나누면 대한민국이 가까워집니다. 일자리를 나누면 대한민국이 가까워집니다. 기회를 나누면 대한민국이 가까워집니다. 마음을 나누면 대한민국이 가까워집니다. 우리가 함께하면 대한민국은 희망에 더 가까워집니다. 위기를 넘어 희망을 향하여 힘내라, 대한민국.
Really embodied b-boying because it was their claim to fame for a while. It was like, oh crap, we're the best in breaking right now, like you know.
Yeah.
So they like helping them out, you know. That's why they were able to throw these really big events, and it was like mainstream. It was mainstream in Korea. Like when I went there for the first time for R16, yo, there was posters of b-boys all over the city. You know what I mean? There was full on, like how Jabbawockees does a show in Vegas now. They were doing that in Korea back then, like
wow,
in the mid 2000s. You know, they had like a few different shows, like 3-4 different shows. There was like a b-boy and a ballerina. There's a few different shows, and so it was definitely, they were working. It was big. They were teaching. They were performing. Mm-hmm. So definitely.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of how Brazil took on the like capoeira. They're like, it's not from Brazil, but they're like, well, we're known for it now, so it's ours.
It's a martial art, a dance, a fight. But for these young Angolans, capoeira is above all a way to get in touch with their history. The Portuguese, the first to leave their colonial footprint on Africa, arrived in what is now Angola in the 15th century. By the mid-1800s, as many as 4 million Africans had been captured and shipped across the Atlantic.
And so they're...
I thought it was there.
We'll see. There you go. No, capoeira's from Africa. It's from Angola, but you know, due to situations in history, it ended up in Brazil, and you know, they just kind of made it their claim to fame. So dope, man. Now, if people don't know, if they haven't gotten it out of this conversation so far, then they're not listening. Nah. But you're from Vegas. And we all know that Vegas is it's an entertainment city, right? Now, from your experiences, does Vegas make space for b-boys on the strip? As far as like, are there opportunities for b-boys, especially local ones in Vegas, outside of just Jabbawockees?
Yeah, definitely. You know, before the pandemic, man, Vegas was popping. Like, so imagine like, there's all these like entertainment companies that will have what they do is they have like, okay, I got female dancers, I got jugglers, I got choreographers, I got, you know, clowns, I got DJs. They get everything, right? Mm-hmm. And so they package everything and they pitch it to the clients that come in. And these are companies like, let's say Nike is coming in for a convention, and they'll bring like their corporate staff of like 500 people, you know, to Vegas. And this would happen like weekly in Vegas, you know, where there's a big convention, all these companies are bringing thousands of people, and then they want to pay payment for them, you know, and these entertainment companies will be like, okay, cool, we're going to set up some b-boys here and have you guys break in, or it's like, you know, there's a big dance number and, you know, we want to, and you can go and audition, or they'll call you direct book. So those that's just like freelancing, you know, that's just freelancing in Vegas. And then there's the Vegas shows that, you know, the Cirque du Soleil's, you know, that has all kinds of b-boys and dancers of all kinds. And there's all these other shows, you know, there's Jabbawockees, there's Absinthe and all this stuff that, you know, a lot of b-boys and performers have found homes. That's why it's crazy living in Vegas, because I'll like let's say I'll go to like Ninja Karaoke, a place where a lot of dancers would go, and you see like, oh crap, it's what's his name from France. Like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I live here. Like, oh, 'cause he got a job at some show and now he's there, you know? So we've had something like this, like dancers and entertainers in the world that end up in Vegas, you know?
Right. So that also means then that Vegas must be a very disgruntled place right now with this whole COVID thing going on.
Man, Cirque du Soleil went bankrupt, like
out of business.
Mr. Lamar, it's good to have you. I know on a very difficult day, of course, series of days, given zero revenues for 3 or 4 months. It's not hard to imagine why you had to file bankruptcy. But tell me what happens now.
Yeah, so what is happening is now that we are protected from our creditors, we also have received an offer from our actual shareholders with the support of the Quebec government that has loaned $200 million. So a total of $300 million is going to be reinvested in the proposal that we have in the company in order to be able to go through the crisis and be ready to a revival of the company when normalcy will come back.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they closed a lot of their like Zoomanity is done forever. And who knows about all the other shows. So yeah, there's so many performers and stuff like that that's just, and me being one of them, you know, I stopped working for Jabbawockees a few years ago, but you know, before Jabbawockees and all that, before Super Crew, you know, I was able to make a living off just doing, you know, gigs here in Vegas, you know what I mean? And that was always like something that, you know, that was there, or, you know. But now, since everything's closed, you know, all the events that we had like some really dope all-style events happening at like the nightclubs and things like that.
No doubt.
Just like everything went to a dead halt, you know? So
that is crazy. Now, I don't mean to disregard everything else, but the Cirque du Soleil, now we talking about, because you know it's from Montreal, right? We talking about the whole Cirque du Soleil or just the American Cirque du Soleil? Or the Vegas Cirque du Soleil?
You know, I don't have the exact answer on that, but a few of the Vegas shows are closed for good. Like,
damn, that is crazy.
I heard in the media that they declared bankruptcy, but I don't know if, I'm sure that company will find a way to like come back, you know. But the thing is their venues in Vegas, they're multi-million-dollar venues, and just to run it for one day costs millions of dollars, you know.
Right.
So a pandemic like this, like it was very difficult, I think, for them to like, you know, afford it. Probably. You know?
Yeah, they need people at them slot machines and blackjack tables so they can afford to do all the other operations.
Exactly.
That is crazy, man. So now, for anybody, if this is your first episode of Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, we definitely like to talk about more than just the dance, right? We like to talk about just real life things that affect b-boys, especially as we get older, right? Like you said, you're in your 30s, I'm in my 40s. You're a dad, right? Yes. And a husband, right? 'Cause like it even says it like on your Instagram. It's like artist, pro b-boy, husband, father, right?
Yeah.
First off, like, what has that experience been like for you, man? Being a father, and you have sons, correct?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have sons. It's been amazing, man. Like, you know, my oldest is 14, so you know, I was a pretty young dad. I was like 23 when my son was born. So, you know, at first, you know, I was scared, you know, because everyone's like, "Oh, you're so young," and you know, so the first, and I was a b-boy. I didn't have to make a lot of money at the time. I was young. I didn't need a lot. I was just there, apartment, and you know, I was just eating fast food. I wasn't taking, you know, I didn't spend a lot of money. Like, you know, I just didn't need to make a lot of money, so I didn't need a lot. But then, you know, I found out I'm having a child. So, like, the first thing I did was like, all right, I got to, like, get jobs. You know? So I went out,
Right.
2 jobs. I was, like, bar backing somewhere else. I was promoting at these clubs. And I was doing that to, you know, make sure that, you know, we had enough money. And, you know, at the time, the baby, my son's mother also, you know, she was working too, but we, you know, it was definitely like that push, like, all right, I got to be responsible, you know?
Yeah.
And about like 6 months into that, like there's an opportunity for me to go to like, I was going to go to Iceland and do a TV show with Knucklehead Zoo and stuff like that. Right.
Oh,
so
wow.
I had a job, like, and the job, man, they were like treating me like garbage, you know. A lot of these jobs too, you know, it's just very like, especially at the time in Vegas was so popping, they're just like, all right, if you can't do the schedule, then it's all right, we can let you go, because it's you know, in Vegas
revolving
it's a
door
state, you know, so they can fire you for anything.
Right.
So So they told me, they wouldn't give me the time off. And the management kept changing over there. I was like, man, this place is garbage. And I just realized, like, you know what? Like, this isn't me, you know? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I got to, like, do me. Like, if I can't be happy, you know what I'm saying? Like, then what kind of father would I even end up, you know?
Right.
So I was like, all right, I quit. I was like, okay, I'm not, I was like, I quit, you know? And then I went on that trip, man. I never turned back, and I made it happen. And I like ended up getting some shows and things like that, and just finding my way, you know. But definitely it was just choice. Oh, my bad. But it was definitely just a choice I had to make. I was like, you know what? I'm a b-boy and a father, and I'm gonna make it work. And when you commit yourself, you make it happen, you know.
Mm-hmm. Word, man. So to close out, as a dancing community, right, and with a lot of us actually, you know, being fathers, how, from your perspective, do we walk that thin line and balance our lives as far as fatherhood and dancer, especially if we're in a situation like yours where the dance is also part of, you know, the income used to provide for those kids?
Yeah, it's a fine line, but I think what I realized is that it all coincides together. You know, it's like as much love as I showed, you know, my family, my sons, my kids, you know, myself, my career, dance, you know, like I try to just be 100% with what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Anything that I do, I'm going to do my best, you know, if I'm you know, and I apply that to every aspect of my life. And that's how I make it work. You know what I mean? I think if I just focused on, all right, I have to be this best dancer or b-boy so that my kids can be good, you know, it kind of leaves things uneven, you know what I mean? And then what happens, you just end up showing so much love to one side that's like, how can your kids be good if you're over here only focusing on this? You know what I mean? So it was really about me understanding that I had to put my best foot forward in all aspects of that. And, you know, and that's, you know, coming from, you know, a guy that's been a father for 14 years, you know, while I was doing this, and that's what I've learned, you know,
right.
That, you know, when I start, you know, just kind of, you know, maybe stressing out so much on career stuff, like it has an effect on your family and your kids, you know? So, you know, whatever you do, you got just love it. You know what I mean? Love it, have fun with it, you know, and have faith, you know what I mean? Have faith in yourself, you know?
No doubt. Well, there it is.
There it is.
Ben Stacks.
Yeah.
Knucklehead Zoo. Super
right.
Crew.
Las Vegas.
Sin City Superman. Straight out of Las Vegas. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your experiences with us, man. You have a wealth of experiences, you know, from battling to, you know, the shows and competing on TV, and like we ended with, just being a family man and a father man, and all that stuff is valuable to our mission, which is to show the humanity in the superhuman. You got the superhuman down for sure. You got the human down for sure, man. And we want to just thank you, man, and say peace.
Hey, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Beyond the Cypher, you know what I'm saying? Ben Stacks, I'm out here. Still out here, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Word. So Ben, man, I don't know if people know this, man, but you and Chris, you guys out here rapping. You guys out here busting bars, man. Y'all got bars coming out of the desert. What's up, man? What's up with that?
Yeah, man. You know, it's just a full circle of the hip hop journey for me. You know, in the very beginning of this interview, I talked about how I got into it with DJing and grinding graffiti, and then I became a b-boy. And the scariest thing for me to do was rap. Always, I was always scared of it. I was like, oh man, this is tough, you know, because I stutter when I talk. You know what I mean? And you know, so all these things, it was like a thing that I always wanted to do. And Chris has been producing music, and he would always like end up kicking it with me, and then I'd be in his car listening to like new tracks that he made, and he was having other rappers get on it, and I was like, bro, you gotta do it yourself. And then he started rapping on it, and then soon after he convinced me to come to the crib and start recording. And at first we didn't even know what we were going to talk about or what, just making random songs and just getting used to our voices, and you know, and then we started talking about breaking, man, because it's like that's that's what is all in here, and all of our experiences of being a b-boy, and then plus going through that whole like super crew Jabbawockee things together, and like what our lifestyle was like was pretty crazy, you know what I mean? And so these are just going to be ways that we get to talk about it, you know what I mean, and just create some music.
No doubt, man. We appreciate that. We're gonna throw a video on at the end. Where can we find this music? Where can we go cop some of these songs?
You can go on iTunes and look up Style and Stacks, and the mixtape is called Hustle and Break. You know what I'm saying? So we out here hustling and breaking, and that's
go, man.
And then YouTube, you can go on Freestyle or Style is his YouTube, and find all our videos and stuff like that. And Ben Stacks YouTube also, I'd be throwing them up. I throw a lot of random stuff on my YouTube. It's almost like my Instagram. I just throw up random little videos, you know what I'm saying? So
no doubt.
Check it out, Ben Stacks. I'm there.
I'm a b-boy, hustle and break, the fake I destroy. Where my b-girls, shout out the b-girls, break and destroy, they serve them b-boys, 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 b-girls, b-girls, b-boys, b-boys, b-girls, b-girls. I be getting lit, I be getting free, style in the cypher, yeah I break free, yeah I be reminding when you see me, freestyle ties with a break mentality, b-boys from Vegas, yeah we party, battle-born city, we rock it steady, all style elements change the 90s, hustle and break in different countries, everything I do it full force, battle super crew, get served like main course, my skill got methods, clip your stance elements, stacks them off your back, that's an embarrassment, boogie like the brat, I got them intrigued, shooting with no gap, but I'm still deadly. We serving bitch boys on a daily. You say you not button, but you're looking like me. I'm a b-boy, hustle and break, the fake I destroy. Where my b-girls, shout out the b-girls, break and destroy, they serve them b-boys, 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 b-girls, b-girls, b-boys, b-boys, b-girls, b-girls. Yeah. B-boys in the building, stacking to the ceiling. James Brown step, got the soul, got the feeling. What you feeling? Moves you still in top billing, make a killing. She always willing. Scarface, I'm a villain. Take a cruise hands, put them bitches to bed. Wallin' with the zoo with some knuckleheads. Who could roast the most? Freestyle session, B-boy summit. Listen up, this a lesson. Confessions of my blessing. Top rock non-stop, do knock for rock. Swift rock, battle rock, B-boy life. This culture worldwide, birth in NY. What's up, Kid Glide? Shout out to the OGs, flavor give you chills. Shout out to the new G's, mind-blowing skills. Virus don't fuck with us, we already sick. Watch some legs split when the crew winning shit, yeah. I'm a b-boy, hustle and break, the fake I destroy. Where my b-girls, shout out the b-girls, break and destroy, they serve them b-boys, 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 b-girls, b-girls, b-boys, b-boys, b-girls, b-girls. I'm a b-boy, hustle and break, the fake I destroy. Where my b-girls, shout out the b-girls, break and destroy, they serve them b-boys, 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 b-girls, b-girls, b-boys, b-boys, b-girls, b-girls.
For more quality content from Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. Let us know how we're doing in the comment section. And to make sure you don't miss anything from the channel, go ahead and smash that notification bell. We appreciate the love and support so far. So peace until the next episode.